Hello, my name is Jordan, aka Joe, your psychic healer. Today's video is going to be talking about why I started to connect with spirit and why I started asking for signs for them. This resonated with you for a reason, and you're being called to work with spirit, you're being called to connect with your spirit guides, and you're being called to work on your spiritual healing practice. And that's where I come in. I can help guide you to one that works best for you, and I can help you connect with your spirit team. And this is just my journey. I'm sharing it with you so that you know that you're not alone in your journey as well. Mine started in 2018 when I was going through a really hard time. I was lost in what I was doing for work. I felt that there just had to be more. I wanted to work with my hands. I wanted to help other people, but I didn't want to be behind a desk anymore. I really wanted to help others heal, but I didn't know what that looked like for me. The beginning kind of started off with me going to a Reiki healing session. We were trying everything to get my anxiety under control, and nothing was working. One day, my mom drove by a naturopathic place where it had natural healing, it had massage therapy, had a little bit of everything, and with that came a meditation worker, and she was also a Reiki healer as well. So I booked a session, not understanding what I was getting myself into, and quite honestly, that first session was a whirlwind. I could not focus my mind for the life of me. That was at a time where I was going through so many stressors, so much anxiety, and my thoughts were just like on a constant loop. Eventually, with working with this Reiki teacher, I was actually able to calm that down and tame that. And I thought that that was fascinating. And I signed up for a course that actually got me in to training so that I can do the same and pay it forward. During this time, I was also working at a metaphysical shop while I was working at the hospital as well. So you can imagine the connection of spirit working at a hospital that was decades old and working at a metaphysical shop. I was seeing all these things connecting, and I was seeing the owner of the shop, who was also a psychic medium, working with spirits all of the time. And of course, there had to be spirit activity at the shop that we were at too. We had a resident spirit, and his name was Peter, and we got to know him through our spirit connection. Now, there were a few of the girls that were terrified and they wouldn't go into the basement. For some odd reason, I was the only one who would willingly go into the basement alone and have the boundaries to be like, listen, you ain't coming home with me. Not today. Not today. And once I got those boundaries set up and running, it was a lot easier to work with spirit. And it's so important to do that. There's a lot in play of working with spirit, such as making sure you have those boundaries in place so that spirits are not following you home. You don't want some rando creepo who was a serial killer rapist also following you home from a haunt investigation that you did, or from just this random location that you were in and you had no clue he was taking up space there. But you want to make sure you're protecting yourself and your energy. You want to make sure you're cleansing yourself before and after you work with spirit so that you know that you're protected in your sleep space, in your sacred space. You have sacred space for a reason. And you just want to make sure that you have everything at play and handy before you're working with spirit, so you really want to be working with. It's so important. Do remember to really do all the proper work into the background layaway of things. Connecting with spirit isn't actually as scary as it has to be. When I worked at the metaphysical shop, the owner often told us that you should really open up the space and say, I am only welcoming in things that are here for my highest and greatest good. I am only willing to connect with things that are for my highest and greatest good. I am only willing to have spiritual beings in my space that are for my highest and greatest good. Nothing of the lower energy levels is welcome here. You really have to say that with your own words, where the vibrational levels can come up into play. and almost cleanse your space as well. You want to cleanse your space with either incense or blue sage, I like to use as well. And what I got into the habit of doing is having different levels of confirmation so that I could really trust my intuition when spirit connection was coming in. That, yeah, that was spirit. It wasn't just in my head. Or, yeah, that was spirit. I don't just think it because I've watched too many horror movies or too much of those ghost hunter shows that I know that that's spirit coming in. Like, this is my own knowing. I feel it in my gut. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my soul. I've got truth bumps confirming it. That's what my own owner of the metaphysical shop said. If you've got goosebumps, you've got truth bumps. And I really like that affirmation of when you were thinking of something, if you were thinking it was spirit, you having goosebumps was a way of confirmation from spirit that that's what you're actually having come through for you. And I've got goosebumps, truth bumps right now. Rebecca, if you're watching, you know. I owe you for those tidbits. And yeah, so here's a few of the things that I like to do in order to ask for signs from spirit. Just ask for a sign. If there's one spirit in particular that you're looking for, if it's something that reminds you of them, you can ask for that. So if they like, for example, sunflowers, you can say, show me a sunflower. You have to have the intention to bring forth to connect with these guides. And so you're saying, if you want to connect with I'll use my Aunt Sue who just passed, for example. You can say, Aunt Sue, please bring me the sign of a sunflower when you are thinking of me or when you are in my path so that I know that you are here, that you are nearby. And it doesn't have to be a physical sunflower out in the forest, out in the garden. If you see a sunflower come out in an ad, so to speak, on like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, it could be while you're watching TV and the backdrop is sunflowers. I have another example of a Reiki client that I once had. I was giving her messages from her spirit team, and she had this butterfly come up. And she's like, well, I don't know. I have no connection to butterflies. I don't know what that means. And so when she had something happen with a neighbor that was a really close family friend of hers, she actually was mind blown because she ended up in the hospital visiting them. And on the wallpaper / whatever mural it was in the hospital room that that person was in, they had butterflies all over it. And I think that they had passed away like shortly thereafter. You got the truth bumps again. So that's just how powerful connecting with your spirit guides can be, either through a channel like me, a psychic healer, who's a Reiki master who can connect with your guides with their psychic abilities, or something as simple as yourself and just saying, Spirit, if you're thinking of me, if you're in my path, show me ... this sign. Some examples of signs that you can use are you might find feathers, random feathers in places that is not common to find feathers. For example, I went away to visit my uncle, whose wife just passed, my Aunt Sue that I was talking about, and then I came home, and I know I looked at my jar of crystals before I left. A crystal, or no feather in the crystal jar. And when I looked in my crystal jar when I came home, there was a white feather. Morning. So it's just amazing when you can see signs from spirit. And it's even more incredible when you ask for them and you receive them. One of my favorite quotes is, if you ask, you shall receive. And the universe is always going to surprise you with those answers. Another sign from spirit you can ask for, or you might see very often, is angel numbers. The different angel numbers have different meanings. They're usually 3 consecutive numbers that are continual. For example, 111, 222, 333, all the way through the sequence. But they can also be 919, 414. They can also be those things. And it's really whatever the connection to those numbers is about for you. And when you look up the messages that they mean, how you connect to those messages, and then what the meaning is to you as well. Or another option for a spirit sign is animals. Random animals showing up after a loved one has passed away. A common theme is often dragonflies and butterflies. And you can also see swans, foxes, owls. And again, it's whatever the connection is between you and that person who passed. But then when you look up the spiritual meaning of whatever that animal is, the ability to know that that actually is a sign and feel connected to that sign is another thing that's more confirmation for you, especially if you ask for a sign from them, especially if you ask for a general sign in specific from them. Now, another one that some people might find controversial is music. If there is music that reminds you of the person you love, you can use the radio or Spotify or Oracle or whatever the apps are you're using. You can use it as a sort of tool to connect with spirit. You can say, show me a sign from spirit, and you can have it on shuffle, and you can click like the next song to what's the song that comes up. Is it a song that that person used to listen to over and over and over again? Or is this a song that you are taking something from? Is this a message specifically for you, you resonate with the messaging in the song, the lyrics, and you just have this inner knowing that because you ask for a sign from spirit, that this message is meant for you. I have had goosebumps this entire video, so I'm feeling like this video is going to be resonating with a few of you, and I feel like this was my truth. I needed to speak this out and connect some of you if you've been confused or lost and really just wanting to connect with your spirit guides or people that you've lost and reconnect with them again. This video is perfect for you to watch. I understand the feeling of feeling lost on your spiritual healing journey. There's so much information that you can take in, and it's so difficult to navigate. And that's why it's so important that you have ways of just knowing and trusting that your universe will have your back, your spirit guides will have your back. You need it the most. When you ask for the signs will show up. Don't get discouraged when it might not come up right away, because sometimes these things take time. They're not going to show up right as we ask for them. We have to sometimes disconnect ourselves from the signs that we've asked for to really see them. Now, if you like this video and you're on your spiritual healing practice and you just want to get started and you really want to have an understanding of the basics, click the link in the little banner at the top of my page, and it will give you access to a free little mini masterclass where you can watch how intention setting behind anything you do in your spiritual healing practice is really going to help set a good foundation for your practice. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway and how you're going to walk away knowing that you can truly connect with your spirit guides.